I have a nice thing.
And you know what that means, don't you?
That's right, we're throwing a rock at it.
Ow.
Not big enough. No, that's actually a very important thing to do when you get a nice thing, because otherwise the gods will take it off you unfairly. That's why you should always throw a rock at a new girlfriend.
Ah.
Uh-oh. Oh, where'd it get ya? Ooh, yeah. Oh my God. That's a European wasp. That's why that hurt. Holy crap, those are spicy, them. You're not allergic to that, are you?
No.
These kill more people every year in Australia than snakes.
What's it doing in my... How to get in my sweatpants?
I don't know. Do you want to keep it? Do you want to mount it as a trophy?
No.
You get bit by a bee, you're like, oh, that kind of hurts. This is next level. These European wasps are just nasty. I mean, look at his pain face.
And I'm back and I'm really sore because a wasp stung me, didn't it?
Finally, I'm not the one getting some spicy disease or fly. It was you! For many years, Gazzy, I've been struggling with a problem. Do you know what that problem is? High bankers are these amazingly efficient tools for extracting gold out of dirt at a hobby level, and they're probably illegal where you live. States like California and America, you can't use these. States like New South Wales, just 30 minutes up the road from us, it's also illegal to use one of these. And the Australian government, in their infinite wisdom, has decided that everywhere that could possibly use these, except for Victoria, because they have water, you can't use them. But you can use them wherever there isn't water, like Western Australia. Western Australians go through a lot of moisturizer every year.
Yeah, they're dry husks.
Just husks of people. Brilliant people, quite husky.
Very husky.
No moisture. But dating back to the early years of even Jesus, the problem with high bankers has been the same. Efficiency comes at a cost of weight and portability, and I've been looking for the right high banker for a multitude of years that I can carry into the bush without having a coronary heart attack. A spicy heart event. A lot of the problems with high bankers are due to the pump. The pumps are generally really big and heavy, and that's because they run off 2-inch systems. But whoever said you couldn't do much with an inch is completely wrong, because this is a 1-banger and it works brilliantly. This one's made by Honda, the producer of the Hilux and family member of E-Honda from Street Fighter. I just pissed off like 5 demographics in one hit. That was skill. I mean, look at this thing. It's positively minuscule. But as a lot of people know, it's not about the size, it's all about the angles. And the angle I'm working on this one is like, that's my spare fuel. That's all I have to bring. That's it. Weight reduction, that's the key. And this beautiful thing fits inside my 80-litre backpack with all of the hoses because it's a 1-banger. Anyway, this little wash plant has been designed by Stumpy Pig. Dan is the Elon Musk of gold prospecting equipment. He's included a lot of very clever features, including covers for your spray bars so you don't get rocks jammed in there, so you can still turn and move them around if need be. He's got grizzly bars that actually move so you can get jammed rocks out of them. He's got a dirt chute that delivers dirt to the back of a Jarvie riffle. And that Jarvie riffle comes over the top of a lip where you can fit any type of matting you want in underneath. But if you choose to use expanded mesh and the moss like I've got in here, he just clips it down with a couple of clips. Nothing complicated, nothing that's going to get jammed. And he supplies it with all the appropriate hose fittings and that pump up there. And free wasps for Gadsy. And lastly, the legs are bent so you get a wider footprint so it doesn't tip over, and you've got beautiful, I don't even know what these are called, but these handles to put those legs on, mamma mia. The point is, that is an amazingly well thought out little unit, and today we're going to give it its first ever run, and I'm going to see if I like it, and more importantly, we're going to harvest some gold from the goldfields. Just like pumpkins, or wasps from the wasp field. Now, I kind of forgot my up-close macro lens for the GoPro. Most of the gold in this area is actually quite fine. It's under 50 mesh, but there are great specimens. There are sapphires here, nice bright blue ones, and I'm hoping by the end of today we're going to pick up a whole bunch of that fine gold. When I run high bankers like that, I like to use per shovel rates, not full pans, because it gives you an idea if I work X amount of shovels, I'm going to get X amount of gold. And you can see there, we've got about 20 good sized micro pieces, and that is what we're primarily going to be collecting today. I'm also taking my jumper off because even though it's still winter, it's fucking hot. In the famous words of Jeremy Clarkson, power! for gold, good sir? Oh, they've blessed you with some micro boobs.
It better. My ankle's killing me right now.
They know how I feel. There's millions of questions I get about sluice boxes and high bankers that I'm going to answer as fast as possible when it comes to setup. The angle of your sluice run is dependent on the ground that you're running and the gold that you're catching. Big chunky gold could be run a lot steeper than fine little gold. The trick is to balance the amount of water that's going through your system with that angle so that the dirt in your riffles, no matter what they are, is moving gently, it's not completely still and compacted, and it's not moving violently where everything gets blown out. Somewhere in the middle. You'll only figure that out by watching the rocks in your run. As a rule of thumb, about 1 inch of drop per foot of sluice length. But that's not a hard and fast rule. I encourage everyone to do experiments by setting up another sluice box underneath your initial one and seeing how much you're going to lose over the course of a full run. If you lose too much, something more than 5%, you got to go back and look at your water flow and your angle. High bankers are pretty simple machines. They just recreate the river exactly the same way that the river collects gold, except in a controlled environment. So what they do is they create a lot of friction that the gold can't get past, and then it all settles in the mat and you get to own it instead of the gold gods. You can tell we're in the right spot because we've got so much iron or iron stone in just the gravels that didn't quite make it into the hopper. So ironstone's really dense like gold, it tends to collect in the same spot. The more of it you see in your raw dirt, not your processed stuff, the stuff that's coming out of the creek, usually indicates the more gold you're going to get. One of the best parts about all high bankers is that the oversized rock stays in your hopper, and you occasionally get to see something really cool. Look at that! That rock's got a lot of stuff going on. At this point you might be wondering to yourself, Chris, why are these illegal in so many places around the world? Well, the Greens movement essentially. Under the bright idea of destroying rivers and creeks and streams, they wanted to get rid of prospectors' ability to process more dirt more efficiently. But you get the idea, on paper it looks good. Yeah, we're going to prevent people from being able to move more dirt, which is causing erosion, which is going to cause problems in the future. But that's not the reality of it. The reality of it is that people who come out hand panning are going to be able to do just as much work, if not more, because of the methods that they have to employ to shift that dirt. If anyone's ever seen a natural flood, you'll know what I'm talking about. Floods literally bored out the Grand Canyon. What I'm doing here is not going to make any difference, especially considering we're currently standing in the middle of an old gravel pit mine that was hydraulically sluiced 150 years ago. All designated prospecting areas are in old abandoned gold mines. You're not damaging anything that hasn't been completely stripped, and you're not damaging it anyway because you're digging in the streamline, and the flood's going to sort it out the very next time it rains. But yeah, they are illegal because men in suits started making laws for men in flannel, or waders as it may be. This is working brilliantly. This chute is sending the dirt directly back to the very top of the box, giving the gold the maximum chance to fall out along the run. And the bars are staying clear, meaning that we've got better ability to get the dirt into the hopper because we haven't lost any of our volume because of these sort of rocks. However, it's time to follow the big blue sausage back to the noisemaker. Oh wow, that's a lot quieter. Feel the waspy serenity. I've run 30 shovels. I'm going to run a lot more today, but I want to clean the mat out on multiple occasions because I'm collecting cons for my pay dirt. I got everything from $25 pay dirt all the way up to $350 pay dirt. So if you would like to get your hands on literally this gold and the cons out of this creek, you can do so if you jump down to my website, theoldmoldy.com.au. A feature I haven't used yet is, well, I've used cam locks plenty. Take that off. This is something that every high banker I have ever used gets wrong. Are you ready for it? Full articulation so you can actually access your mat. Look at that! Most of them stop here or here. It's just, this is perfect. And look at the ironstone. Whew. Oh, there's some gold. I wonder if there's any more. I'm not going to clear underneath the drivey riffle. That can just be there for the whole run. These pretty regularly self-clear out, which is exactly what we want. It's just this mat with the cons in it that I want to collect. Unfortunately, I left my bucket sponsor Bruce at home, so pretend that says Bruce. Oh, I have a gold pan here for this exact job. Work smarter, not harder. As my grandpappy always said. Did your grandpappy say that? Work waspier, not beer. Yeah, Gadsy's pain is our pleasure. That's quite sadistic of me. Gotta give it to Dan. His tolerances are incredible. The problem is I'm a special kind of idiot that... Oh no! Oh, there we go. Yep. Man struggles with mesh. On the next exciting episode of Wasp Boy. I'm absolutely going to come in and like tie those together with bits of metal so that's just like one solid plate and not moving on me, because I just don't have those skills. I'm not Dan. Dan's an impressive specimen, I'll tell you what. He is an amazing human. Anyway, it's time for a bit of power. Power! Because we're able to move so much more dirt with a high banker, it is absolutely imperative that you test pan regularly so you know you're not overshooting your pay streak and just shoveling worthless dirt. We've still got good ironstone and we've still got good gold. About the same as we got in our initial test pan. Every shovel I'm putting down, that little unit is giving me 20 specks of gold. That's right, 20. I've done another clean out and just collecting those cons up because enjoying myself a mineral water, because apparently I'm progressing into old man age when mineral water is now delicious. I never thought I'd be drinking mineral water. I hate the stuff. He says he drinks it thinking it's delicious. I used to hate the stuff. How times have changed. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, I want to open up a section of ground over there in virgin area that I haven't dug. I think the 20 specks of pan is probably going to continue. But down there is where the best gold in this entire stretch was. A couple hundred flakes per pan. Now we did hit it pretty hard. I used a river sluice here. Mick and I have panned it. Gadsy and I have panned it. But I'm pretty sure there's still more ground down there that's got the same spec count. So we're going to open up this little bit here. I'm going to see what's in the mat after I do 20 or so shovels. And then we might move the setup down there. What I want to do, move some of these big rocks. Open up a section of ground I've never opened before. Ugh. You gotta love it when your shovel's surrounded by natural razor wire. Yeah. There we go. Just starting to get a little bit of that clay. That clay is decaying bedrock, and if there's chunky bits, that's where they'll be. Third run done. We still haven't cleaned out the top mat. I haven't cleaned out the main mat. I wish I bought my macro lens, but there's a flake just there, and there's also a flake just over here and in here. I looked up at the drivey riffle and I was like, is that a nugget? Is that a freaking nugget right there? It is, it's a specimen. Look at that. Oh, it's a good one. That's a real good one. Oh, the problem is I don't have a macro lens and I don't know when that came out. I don't know if that's from there or somewhere else.
No, now.
You can't run.
Yeah, I know. I'll limp away.
That's a really nice bit. That is absolutely not going to go in the bucket because God knows what's going to happen to that bucket. That could go in the snuffer bottle. We know what happens to snuffer bottles.
They go to heaven if they're good.
2 men, 1 camera. I mean 2 men, 2 cameras. 2 men, 1 jar. Yeah.
No! You can find another bloke, mate.
If you know, you're dirty. Me specimen's safe in here, away from all the wasps. I've got so many tailings now, I've got to dig a hole. Like a horse. No! Oh, there's a bit of gold there. Oh, it's a little specimen. Hey, wasp bites mean one thing, mate. Your mate's going to get some good gold. That's a really nice little reefy specimen. God damn it, I wish I had my macro lens. In you go. Bucket full of cons. Man, this paydirt's going to be lit. Good Lord, I hope you can hear me. You fell in the water when I was trying to do a fancy shot of the high banker, so if the audio's crap, I'll be overdubbing this part. Our theory is that the good gold's more over this way. I moved a really big rock, and the reason for that was, well, it was in the way. And when I did that, it opened up a little pocket of bedrock. And I think we're finally going to be feeding the high banker something worth feeding. Look at that for a pan. That is 1 shovel. Gaz is going to flip his lid. That's a good shovel. Wow. All right. I'm just going to put that in the bucket. We're not even going to risk that to the gods. I can just get in. That's a rock. Areas like this can form pockets where you get really good gold for 1 or 2 pans or even a single shovel, and then it disappears. So the only way to know is to continually test pan. Not as good as that last pan, but it's still nice coarse little bits. I just did my 4th clean out and then ran another 25 shovels, but I'm done. It's been multiple hours of digging. I've only gone through a litre of petrol. That's pretty cheap. I started there and I've worked my way all the way up here, and to put that in perspective, that little pile of coarse tailings that sits just there took me about 4 sessions, and that took me about 3.5 hours. I don't think we're going to see overly much in this run because it was only 25 shovels, and again, the mat doesn't really do the main collecting in your sluice box when you're running riffle sets like that at the top, and we haven't cleaned the top mat out at all today, so that's what we're going to do right now. All of those tailings. Get away! I'm not losing the wing nut. Now that is a real trick. And getting that out, that's the other trick. I shall hit it with a small rock. Have you got a crevice tool I could borrow? Oh, Gadsy will be happy when he comes back. That's a shotgun pellet.
Yeah. Oh, can I keep it?
Yep.
Oh, thanks, mate.
There we go. Ah. Oh, that's what happens when you jam too many rocks into your high banker. Oh, victory. Victory is mine. I'll put it near the phone. I found where all the gold's going. It's all in here. Wow. Did you see that, Gadsy?
Yeah, I saw that.
Holy crap. I don't think we're going to be able to pick it all up, but at least some of it could go in there. Gold laden dirts. Like Fred Dirts, but better. You can never tell how many eggs you have in your high banker until you do an egg collection. Sometimes you can do test pans and see good gold and then not get much because there's pockets and blah 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 blah. We should see a good show of colour from this top mat. We should. Hopefully enough for even the GoPro to pick up. I actually don't feel very confident in panning this down the creek. I might put this in the bucket, but we'll look at it first. We saw good gold on that slick plate, and I'm doing a one-handed reveal here, so they're never the best. Oh, there's gold in there, all right. Look at that. Oh, that's just the top mat. That's not even including what we got in the bucket. That's a gold freaking bonanza. There's well over a gram in that. There's no way there's less than a gram in this pan right now. Holy Stumpy makes a good banker.
He does.
That thing's magic. I gotta get some close-ups of that, but holy crap. The next step for me is to take all of this home and clean it up to see how much gold we got using the brand new high banker, and to come up with a name for the high banker. That's an important step. Not
You
bad.
did move a fair bit of material.
I moved a couple, maybe a meter of dirt, I reckon. I moved today.
Yeah, all the way from here.
That's a lot of dirt, but you know, worth it. That was an amazing little high banking session, especially for the first run for the new high banker from Stumpy Picks. Gold always looks bigger and better when you're on the creek. Somehow magic happens between the creek and home and it seems to shrink. Nonetheless, we did get some really good results. Not only a lot of very fine flower gold, but also a beautiful large specimen, another small specimen, and even a small blue sapphire. I just want to point out that we are very lucky here in Australia to have several manufacturers of high quality gold prospecting equipment. I mean, after all, Australia is one of the largest producers of gold in the world, so we should really have the industry to back it up. And I'm very proud that we have someone just like Dan from Stumpy Picks making very innovative, very creative products that listen to the gold prospectors' needs and wants so that we can get the best results from the work that we put in. I think we still got a reasonable amount of gold considering that I was in an area that I'd already worked just a month previously. So this was ground that I had thought wasn't that good. If you ever wanted to learn how to pan for gold, own a gold nugget, or even some rare crystals and gemstones, theoldmoldy.com.au is where I sell everything that I dig up. I'm thinking there's over a gram. I'd like to see 1.25 to 1.5. I'm including the specimen in it because there is a lot of gold. Leave your guess in the comments below. Don't cheat. We've got to get the numbers out before we get to the end of the way up. We're already over the half gram, so we're going to do a gram. 0.9, 1.17. That's not bad. 1.4, 1.5. 1.70 on the dot. Brother, that's about 200 Australian dollars worth of gold at the time of recording.